Hi, I'm Lorna Illingsworth, an independent financial advisor for Protection Investment Southampton. Today we're going to talk about let-to-buy mortgages. Sometimes you want to move home, but selling your existing property just isn't possible or doesn't make sense at that point of time. In these situations, a let-to-buy mortgage could be an option worth considering. Let-to-buy is a type of mortgage designed for homeowners who want to move into a new property without selling their existing home. Instead of selling, you switch your current residential mortgage onto a let-to-buy mortgage, allowing you to rent that property out to tenants. At the same time, you take out a new residential mortgage to buy your next home. With a let-to-buy mortgage, your existing property becomes a rental property rather than your main residence. You remortgage your current home onto a let-to-buy product, often releasing some of the equity in that property. This equity can then be used as a deposit towards your new home. For example, if your property is worth £200,000 and your existing mortgage balance is £100,000, you may be able to remortgage up to £150,000. That extra £50,000 could then be used as a deposit on your new property. It's also worth noting that your let-to-buy mortgage and your new residential mortgage do not have to be with the same lender. A buy-to-let mortgage is used when you purchase a property specifically as an investment to rent out, or when you already own a rental property and want to remortgage it. Let-to-buy, on the other hand, applies when you already live in the property and decide to rent it out because you're moving into a new home. Once your let-to-buy deal ends, if the property is still being rented out, the mortgage will usually be treated as a standard buy-to-let going forward. A key advantage of a let-to-buy mortgage is that it allows you to move home without being dependent on selling your existing property, which can reduce the stress and uncertainty of being in a property chain. You may also be able to release equity from your current home to help fund the deposit on your new property. In addition, you could benefit from the long-term house price growth across two properties and potentially generate additional income if the rental income exceeds your mortgage costs. Let-to-buy mortgages usually come with higher interest rates than standard residential mortgages, reflecting the increased risk to lenders. You'll also need to retain a reasonable level of equity in the property you're renting out, typically around 20 to 25%, which means you may have a smaller deposit available for your new home than if you sold it outright. Owning two properties also increases your financial commitments and exposure if property values fall. On top of this, becoming a landlord brings additional responsibilities, time commitments and potential tax considerations. As you'll own more than one property, you'll usually need to pay the higher rate of stamp duty, which includes a 3% surcharge on your new property. However, if you sell your original home within 3 years of buying your new property, you may be able to reclaim this surcharge from HMRC. Lending criteria varies between lenders, but typically the maximum loan-to-value for a let-to-buy mortgage is around 75%. Lenders will usually want to see evidence that the rental income will comfortably cover the mortgage repayments, often by 125 to 140%. You'll normally need to be at least 25 years old and below the lender's maximum age limit, often around 75. As with any mortgage, your credit history and overall affordability will also be assessed. Most lenders require around 20 to 25% equity in the property you're letting out. This reflects the higher risk involved compared to a standard residential mortgage. In many cases, this equity requirement can be met using the value already built up in your existing property. If you'd like to discuss a let-to-buy mortgage, please call us on 02380 668 407 or visit our website.